everybody. When we talk about Prakriti, we are not referring to the Jivas here. We are referring to the Jada, the non-living, non-sentient components of the universe also have the three gunas. That is what we were looking at earlier. How that those three gunas are there even in non-living entities. So from Prakriti there is Mahat, from Mahat there is Ahankara. There itself we were seeing that this distinguishing between the three gunas helps us to understand the exact manifestation of Prakriti. And knowing these manifestations helps us to understand how we are influenced by it. So the minute I know that even seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and feeling with my skin, all of these things are in fact results of association with the non-living component, association with the body. This body, we are saying, is jada. By itself, it cannot feel anything. The jiva by itself cannot touch, it cannot feel, it cannot smell, it cannot do any of these things. Then how is it that we feel all of these? We said that is because of ahankara. Ahankara implying the identification of oneself specifically with the body. That is something that we should get out of. We may get out of the identification with the body, but we cannot get out of the body itself. That is a very important concept in Vishishtadvaita. Therefore, it is said that you get out of your body at the end of this life. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavaram jara. Like Krishna explains in that shloka, the body is shed like a cloth and you take another body. That is when you are here. While here, we as Jivatmas, we are baddhas, bound by our karma. Therefore, we undergo punarjanma. So we leave one body, but we take another body. We go to Swarga, we get a body. We go to Naraka, we get a body. We take birth again on earth, we get another body. It keeps happening that way. Eventually, we would get moksha. Now, this moksha, as per Vishishtadvaita, is also a sthiti where you will have a body. This body will be a Shuddha Sattva body. So we discussed about Shuddha Sattva in the previous class, where we said it is just Sattva Guna. No Rajoguna, no Tamoguna. It is very pure. It is associated with Bhagavan. Like Bhagavan's avatars are all having Shuddha Sattva bodies. It is associated with temples as declared by the Agama Shastras. And it is associated with the Nityas and Muktas who reside in the eternal abode of Bhagavan. How is it associated? Because their bodies are made of Shuddha Sattva. This part about Shuddha Sattva we had seen. What we need to understand is that the Jiva would always have some body or the other. So while here we would have a body that is comprised of Sattva Guna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna. While there, after attaining moksha, we would have a body that has only Sattva Guna. Maybe this one difference itself is enough to say that we are different from the body. We can understand that we are different from the body when we understand that the types of bodies that we are going to bear are different. But what matters even more is understanding why that body is going to be necessary. why that body is going to be necessary is important. Technically, as per Vishishtadvaita, once you attain moksha, you need not really have a body. With a body or without a body, you can do whatever you want. How is that going to be possible? That is going to be possible through your jnana. Which jnana? We have discussed about the two types of jnana before, dharmic jnana and dharma bhuta jnana. Dharmic jnana is simply the knowledge of existence of the self. All other knowledge counts as dharma bhuta jnana. So you have knowledge. When that knowledge is infinite, when you have moksha, knowledge will be infinite. And when you have infinite knowledge, you will be able to think of anything. It is not just infinite knowledge that the mukta has or the nityasuri has. They will have infinite ability as well. So with infinite knowledge and infinite ability, in an instant, anything that you want can be achieved. For that, do you require a physical body? You don't require a physical body. Yet, we see the descriptions of the Nityasuris, those who are eternally in the state of moksha. We see Adisesha. He is there having the body of a snake. We see Garuda. He is there in the form of an eagle. We see Sudarshana. He is there in the form of a weapon, the discus. In this manner, we see that the Nityasuris are also taking some shape or the other, having some body or the other. They can take any body they like. They can take as many bodies as they like. They can stay without any body as well. But even there, why do we say, like just a short while ago, I said, even there, you are going to have the body. It was implied that non-living is also real. So whatever was discussed in the previous lecture, which was about Kala and Shuddha Sattva, and before that, about Prakriti, none of these is considered living. None of this is considered to be sentient. Yet, we still have all of them. Now we said Prakriti is eternal. The only difference is that there is transformation. Prakriti is neither created nor destroyed. It is transformed from one state to another. So, Chidachit Vishishta Brahman, that Parabrahman, along with Chit, that is all the jivas, and Achit, that is all the jadas, non-living things. When the non-living things were in a completely infinitesimally small volume of space, it was counted as it was counted as a state before creation or a state after destruction. From that state, what happens? There is creation, naturally. So creation involves expansion of Prakriti and destruction involves contraction. But eventually, will that Achit disappear ever? It will never disappear. It will always be in some form or the other. It is always there. So, Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, and Tamo Guna, they are eternal. They are eternal. Whether you are influenced by them or not is the question. So, these three gunas are there. They are going to eternally be there. And then, if you go to Sri Vaikuntha, only Sattva will be there. It would be Shuddha Sattva Maya. There, are you going to get influenced by Shuddha Sattva? Well, you are not going to be influenced by it, but you would be using it. Here we use, but we also get influenced. There, we will use the body, but will not be influenced by the body. That is the difference. Okay. If I am not going to be influenced by the body, and in fact, if I don't even need a body, then why will I keep a body? We said once moksha is attained, there is no need for a physical body. You get, along with infinite knowledge, infinite ability as well. And that infinite ability includes performing actions without having a physical body. Secondly, we just said before attaining moksha, we are naturally influenced by the physical body that we possess. But after moksha, even if we have a physical body, we will not be influenced by it. We would only be using it. But what use will I have for a body when I can perform the same thing without the body? If I have infinite ability, I shouldn't need a physical body. No. It seems to be a valid question, but it is answered in this manner. When talking about moksha, we spoke about the differences between Advaita and Vishishtadvaita. The reason why we always contrast with Advaita is that Vishishtadvaita's concept of moksha would be similar to how it is explained in Dvaita and in Achintya Bheda Bheda and other such schools. There would only be very slight differences. So moksha, being the state of performing eternal service to Sriman Narayana, is not denied by those schools either. We at Vishishtadvaita are saying the same thing. Moksha is a state where you will be performing service to Bhagavan, eternal service to Bhagavan, continuously. It has a start. If you attain moksha, that instant is a start, but there will be no end. Then there are Nityas who have been doing it forever. We discussed about how this service to Bhagavan itself is a very great thing. That has also been covered. This service to Bhagavan could be done without a body or with a body. There are specific services that could be done with a body. You look at Adishesha. Now, Adishesha, what does he do? He becomes a serpent bed. Is that the only thing he does? No, he does a lot of things. We have seen that before, right? He would cover Bhagavan like an umbrella. He would be with Bhagavan at all points of time and in various ways perform various services. But the services described by the Alvar in that verse that was discussed by us, if you look at the services that were described, you would see that they are all associated with a body. So, it is important for us to understand that there are several types of services. Many of them require a body. Okay, why do I have to perform that service which is going to require a body? Here, I require a body because whatever the Atma wants to do, we have discussed it. The Atma is sentient, the body is non sentient. But for the Atma to do something, here in this Prakruta Loka, we require the body. What about there? There, we do not really require the body. It is not mandatory for us to go and do only those services that require a body either. Yet, we still say so many cases where the physical body is required. How does this work? Let us quickly get back to Adishesha as we started with him as the example. So, Poigai Alvar had said that Adishesha behaves like an umbrella when Bhagavan moves. When he moves, Adishesha covers him from the top. When he sits, he is like a throne. When he stands, like footwear, Adishesha would be beneath Bhagavan. When Bhagavan decides to recline, the same Shesha would become like a bed for him. So, service to Bhagavan that is done with a form, if you look at the examples, you will get the answer. The answer is that Bhagavan himself takes forms. When Bhagavan himself is assuming forms, naturally, the jiva would also take different forms. So, in Vaikuntha, although Bhagavan could very well be there without any form, it is said that Paravasudeva, he exists in a specific form. To perform service to that form, to Bhagavan in that form, the Muktas and Nityas take the appropriate bodies and perform service in various ways. We have already addressed questions like if you have infinite ability, why will you still be performing service to Bhagavan? Those kinds of questions have already been answered. But now what we are trying to understand is how we behave differently in the Prakruta world when compared to how we behave in the state of moksha. This is important for us to know because we are not declaring moksha to be a state where you don't have a body. We are saying it is a state where you are not under the influence of the body. And we are declaring it that way. It is not the complete definition. So moksha is the final state that is granted by Bhagavan, in which you have complete ananda, complete jnana, complete uh, ability, shakti. In that way, jnana, bala, aishwarya, virya, shakti, tejas, all of those would be complete for you. When all of them are complete, and when you also have only auspicious qualities like Bhagavan, you also stop possessing all the bad qualities that you previously had. What happens? only the purest intent, only the purest thoughts, words, and actions would remain. When the purest thoughts, words, and actions alone remain, how would the Jivatma behave? It would feel eternal gratitude towards Paramatma. I have attained moksha today, but at some point of time, I did not know. By your grace, I have come here. Correct? You are the one who has pulled me here by granting me moksha. This is how the Jivatma is going to think. So, it would behave with complete gratitude towards Bhagavan. What about the Nityas? They have always been experiencing Ananda. They already have so many qualities of Bhagavan, except Shriyah Patitvam. Let us see. Are they eternally there? Yes. Are they eternally there with complete knowledge? Yes. With complete ability? Yes. What differentiates them then? The differentiation happens in two ways. One is that Jivatma is Anu, Paramatma is Vibhu. This Anutva is retained even in the state of moksha. You remain different from the body. You have the ability to control every single body in the universe. Yet, you are not spread out everywhere. You are not omnipresent. Bhagavan is omnipresent. The Jivatma, even after attaining moksha, does not become omnipresent. Now, a question might arise. Is this not a problem if you cannot become omnipresent like Bhagavan? The answer is simple. There is no need for us to have every single quality as Bhagavan. As far as Vishishtadvaita is concerned, we call Paramatma directly as Bhagavan. We identify him with infinite auspicious qualities. And we say that being omnipresent by itself is not necessarily an auspicious quality. Bhagavan has that quality. Every quality of Bhagavan is auspicious. He uses it in an auspicious way by being present everywhere, inside and outside of everything. He ensures that everything functions. He ensures that everything exists. He ensures that everything transforms. We cannot exist everywhere, even after attaining moksha. We would still have that anutva. With that anutva, we are still capable of controlling entities that are far, far away. Therefore, when it is said that Adisesha came on earth, Garuda came on earth, and so on, they controlled their physical bodies here while being there. If they are to bring their Atma also here, their Atma would not be there. So the Jivatma will remain an Anu. Is that the only difference? No. We said that with pure knowledge and pure ability, the Mukta is going to function. With that pure knowledge, pure thoughts, and infinite ability, that Jivatma is still going to acknowledge himself as Bhagavan's Shesha. This Sheshatvam, about which we have again discussed a number of classes ago. This Sheshatvam is an inherent quality of the Jiva. It is not an attained quality. It is not something that you pick up over a period of time. It is the natural quality of the Jivatma. You are his Shesha. You are his Sharira. You are his Amsha. All of those words. Amsho Nana Vyapadeshat. The Vedanta Sutra declares. So we understand he is the Amshi. I am the Amsha. He is the Shariri. I am the Sharira. Yasya Atma Shariram, the Upanishad has declared. So, understanding all of these things, understanding that relationship of Sheshi and Shesha, we would show our gratitude to him. How much gratitude should we have? We should have infinite gratitude to him. Therefore, infinite gratitude is shown to him through continuous service. How exactly to perform service? You have a choice there. But no matter how you do or what you do, the best part about the state of moksha is that whatever you think would be 100% consistent with what Bhagavan thinks. And this is going to be applicable to every jiva, which means every jivatma. Remember, in Vishishtadvaita, we don't have a differentiation between the terms jiva and jivatma. They mean the same thing. So the jivatma that has eternally been there, like Adisesha, Garuda, and so on. And also those jivatma that have attained Sri Vaikuntha by performing Sharanagati with Anga Prapatti or Angi Prapatti, one of those two types of Sharanagatis. It is possible to attain Bhagavan. We have seen that. So, not only the Nityasuris, even all the Muktatman, what is happening? They all think and behave in a completely consistent way. This is very important for us because when you get into the two main branches of Sri Vaishnavism, which they call as Dakshina Kalarya and Uttara Kalarya, you would see that both of them accept this point. The Dakshina Kala, does not accept the status of Shri as equal in all aspects to Bhagavan. Yet, they would accept that she recommends the Jivatma to Paramatma. They will accept that she is his eternal consort, and they will accept that everything she does or thinks is completely consistent with what he does or thinks. So, any kind of difference that you see on earth is just a Leela. For him, as we have seen before, everything here is Leela. Creation, preservation, destruction, all are Leelas only for him. So, is he just playing around with no care for us? Can you say that he does not have any care for us? Or does he really care for us? In this regard, several scholars debated. There is something called Paradukha Dukkhitvam. We, although we are different from the body, we Baddhas do not realize it. If we realize it, then we will move towards moksha and immediately, eventually attain moksha. But the majority of the Baddhas have not understood this difference from the body properly. And they are residing in the Prakrita world with a limited amount of jnana. We say jnana is there, but it gets contracted or expanded, correct? So, with contracted jnana, the Baddhas are residing in various lokas, Bhuloka, Bhuvaloka, Suarloka, whatever, all of these lokas, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, ityadi. They are therefore subject to dukkha. They have Rajoguna, Tamoguna. They are subject to dukkha, Adhyatmika, Adi Daivika, Adi Bhautika dukkhas. These dukkhas are not eternal, but your sukhas are also not eternal. So you might experience happiness of some kind, but afterwards you would also experience sadness of some kind. That is how the world is. Does Bhagavan get sad when the jiva suffers? Because as an auspicious quality, he has compassion. Swami Deshika says, if not for that compassion, daya, if not for that compassion, all the other auspicious qualities of Bhagavan would go waste. Why? What is the point? You may be the most knowledgeable, you may have the maximum power and everything. But if you don't have compassion, I will never get moksha. Then what is the point? So it is out of his compassion that he tries to pull us from this imperfect state into the perfect state called moksha. He is consistently trying. What do you mean by trying? He has infinite abilities, no? He has infinite abilities, but he has to be fair. He cannot grant moksha as he pleases. Out of compassion, he gave us free will. We misused that free will, got into ahankara, mamakara, and other bad qualities. And therefore, we have not been able to attain him. So, as a fair judge, he should decide when we get moksha. Everybody can attain moksha, and everybody will eventually attain moksha as per Vishishtadvaita. But what is going on? Bhagavan does not grant moksha instantly to everybody. He can if he wants to, but he does not do because he has to be fair. Now, how is this fairness shown? When something wrong is done, we get papa karma phala. We start suffering. That suffering is also due to ahankara, that is also due to association with the body, that is also something that happens only in the prakrita world, that is also because we do not have complete jnana. That much should be understood by us. But if we understand this much, we should think, how is this compassion shown? By making us to suffer for our crimes, he is removing our papa karma. He is helping us to come out of papa karma. Our papa karma gets destroyed every time we experience the result of papa karma. Whichever karma's effect we experience, that karma only gets burned, no? You have fuel. Let us say you have a wax candle. Whenever the wax burns, whenever there is fire, the wax decreases. In the same way, as we suffer, our karma, bad karma, will decrease. He will keep decreasing it that way, in a very proportional manner. But if for all my punyas I am going to get rewarded, if for all my papas I am only going to be punished, then I will never get moksha. Because in life I keep doing things. Thoughts, words, and actions will all give karma. So I will keep on accumulating karma. I will keep on getting karma phala. What would eventually happen? We said, when there is enough appropriate prarabdha punya, you will face the situation where it is possible for you to get acharya sambandha. Ishwarasya cha sauhardam yadruchha sukrutam tatha vishnoh kataksham advesham abhimukyam cha satvikaihi sambhashanam shadetani hi acharya prapti hetavaha. We have seen this. So, we get acharya sambandha. That acharya sambandha takes us towards Bhagavan. Vidhi parinati bhedat vikshitastena kale guru parishadu prajñam prapya gopayati swa. We have seen that. So with that acharya sambandha, we get knowledge. With that knowledge, we should start practicing. We should inculcate all of that. Knowledge alone is not going to grant moksha in Vishishtadvaita. Having obtained the knowledge, we need to live as per it. Only then we can attain moksha. Therefore, just contemplating on some statement of the Veda is not going to grant moksha. What will give moksha? You get knowledge about yourself, about Bhagavan, the relationship between the two of you. What is the relationship? I am the Shesha, he is the Sheshi. All of that kind. Once you get that kind of knowledge, what will you do? You will surrender to him. That surrender, which is called Sharanagati, is what would eventually give moksha. This is the teaching of Vishishtadvaita. So, is it necessary for us to know that we are different from the body? Yes, knowing it helps us greatly. What if I don't even know about it and still go and surrender to Bhagavan? Will that surrender be valid? Yes, it will still be valid. How? By the grace of Bhagavan, by the grace of the Acharya, your punya has helped you to go in that direction. It has helped you to perform surrender. So that Sharanagati is everything. That Sharanagati has that much power. So once we perform Sharanagati, we have seen what happens. The Prarabdha karma would remain, the Sanchita karma would be destroyed, the effects of past Prarabdha karma phala, as it is called, they will not have huge impacts on us. So if we have committed sins, we will definitely suffer for sins, but not that much, given especially that now there is only a temporary amount of time left. There is a finite amount of time left before this specific Jivatma is going to attain moksha. So this attainment of moksha happens in a very beautiful way. Somewhere in some life, I did something good. Maybe my mistake, I don't know. But as a result of that, I got association with Sadacharyas, Acharyas of Sat Sampradaya, Siddham Sat Sampradaya, Sthiradhyamanagham, Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham, Ityuktaritya, authentic Acharyas, who are themselves Brahmanishthas, who themselves are trying to go and attain Bhagavan. They are in that process already. They are already practicing what they are preaching with a firm mind. So, this Sambandha, Acharya Sambandha, gives us knowledge that needs to be inculcated properly by us. Once we start behaving that way, once we get all of that knowledge, how would we behave? If we are to have all the knowledge, complete realization, and all the abilities as well, even before moksha, how would we behave? If we are to become 100% pure, we would naturally behave the way in which muktas and nityas are behaving. We will perform service to Bhagavan with a complete gratitude towards him. Therefore, there are baddhas who behave like muktas. They also feel the presence of Bhagavan everywhere. Great saints, continuously they will be thinking about Bhagavan. But this samsara is temporary. This body is temporary. Plus here, we are afflicted by karma. Therefore, some papa karma or the other would eventually come in between. This is why we said technically it could take forever to attain moksha. Even if you have bhakti and you perform sharanagati under bhakti yoga. Sharanagati under bhakti yoga, which is Sangha Prapatti. That's another term. We said it is great, it will definitely give moksha. But when it is going to give moksha, there is no guarantee. If you want moksha at the earliest, what you need to do is not Sharanagati as part of something else, but Sharanagati in completion. Complete Sharanagati, Paripurna Sharanagati. You perform that. And how does the Sharanagata behave? Anukulyasya sankalpaha, pratikulyasya varjanam. We have seen this shloka. You do what Bhagavan likes you to do. How do you know what Bhagavan likes and what Bhagavan dislikes? You know it only through the Shastras. Sheer logical reasoning is not enough. Logical reasoning might tell us sometimes, for example, let us say I'm going to the market. I see a beautiful apple. I decide to steal it. No, my mind would say this is immoral. My mind would also say this is wrong. I'm only harming myself. Logical reasoning would tell me that by committing papa karma, I'm harming myself. But this theory of karma cannot be established logically. It is believed only on the basis of scripture. Likewise, only on the basis of scripture are we saying that through Sharanagati there is moksha. Only on the basis of scripture are we saying these are the lakshanas of Sharanagati. Only on the basis of scripture we are going to say that with just logical reasoning you cannot understand everything. Because Vedavyasa himself had, on being questioned by his Shishyas, given that as an answer. So logical reasoning is great, but it is not enough. What do you need beyond that? You need the Shastra. Therefore, being Shastra Vishwasashali is mentioned as a prerequisite for a Shishya. You should have faith in the scripture. You should know what it says. So that Sadacharya teaches Tattva, Hita, Purushartha. By learning the Tattva, by learning what is good, and by learning how to finally attain Bhagavan, how to live this life with Dharma, Artha, Kama, and eventually attaining moksha by aligning all of them. The Jivatma proceeds on a noble path. This noble path need not be 100% pure. We are impure beings. Nakashchinna paradhyati. But even with those impurities, Bhagavan would remove the impurities and accept us if we have performed Sharanagati in a complete manner. If we do not perform Sharanagati in a complete manner, that guarantee would not be there. So, Etad Deha Vasane Mam, as said by Swami Deshika, is applicable only to those who are completely offering themselves to Bhagavan. How to completely offer, what goes inside that, all of these have already been discussed. So, in essence, the Jivatma is different from the body. Could be Baddha, Nitya or Mukta. Nitya and Mukta will be performing eternal service to Bhagavan. Sometimes that service would involve having a physical body. In Sri Vaikuntha also, Bhagavan stays in a specific form as declared by the scriptures. But does he stay only in that form? No. For the person who is performing Sharanagati, it is further stated, in whichever form of Bhagavan you imagine, you get to experience him in that form once you attain moksha. So some people say, the person who is there when you attain that final moksha is Krishna. Some people say it is Rama. What do we say? Our acharyas who taught Vishishtadvaita since very long ago, they have declared that the mukta would be able to experience Bhagavan in whichever appropriate way he wants. So if I were a Rama Bhakta before moksha, I could very well remain a Rama Bhakta and experience Bhagavan in the form of Rama. Now when Bhagavan comes in the form of Rama there, I could very well use my physical body to perform some kind of service to him. Does any kind of service count as service to him? No. But it is because he has nothing to gain from it. But we have lots to gain from it. By performing service to him, we show our gratitude. for taking us out of the aprakrita world, for taking us out of the bondage of samsara, which kept us bound to various aspects, starting from the physical body. So, it is a way to make him feel good. The squirrel that rubbed itself on sand after getting wet in the water and then shook itself to place those very, very small, extremely tiny, you cannot even call it stone, maybe you would call it as sand particle. Those sand particles were the contribution of the squirrel in Ramasetu. This is discussed by the Alvar. Now, do you really think those tiny sand particles were important for the Vanaras to cross and reach Lanka? It does not seem so. Yet, that bhava, that willingness, and that want to do service to Bhagavan. Remember, this is a sattvic want. Wants are also classified into sattva, rajas, and tamas. Even those who pray to Bhagavan could be classified in that way. And I am not referring to what Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita about pretan bhutagananshani yajante tamasa janaha. Yakshan, yaksha rakshamsi rajasaha. We are not talking about them. We are talking about yajante satvika devan. Specifically, those sattvic people who are sattvika satvignyayaha savai mokshartha chintakaha, as declared this way in Mahabharata. These people obtain jnana about Atma and Paramatma, want to attain him. And they consistently take steps there. Savai mokshartha chintakaha, thinking about that final goal, that is moksha. They continuously try to move closer and closer towards it and attain it. So this is important for us to understand. If we wish to understand how we are different here from being in Sri Vaikuntha. So once we go there, so here, let us say we were Rama Bhaktas. There we can very well experience him as Rama. He is Vibhu. He can take infinite forms. He is not dependent in any manner. To the Rama Bhakta, he would show himself as Rama. To the Krishna Bhakta, he would show himself as Krishna. In that way, he continuously blesses the Muktas and Nityas. So I'm concluding today's lecture here. Sincere apologies for beginning late. I had kind of forgotten that we have changed the timings. But I will have to drop off now. If there are questions that have been presented in the chat section, I will answer them. If you have any other question, please feel to unmute yourself and ask, or ask in the chat section. But next time onwards, we will start at 6 o'clock sharp and end at 7 o'clock sharp.
Manu, can you please explain the difference between Bhakti Yoga and Prapatti once again?
See, Prapatti means Paripurna Sharanagati. Prapatti, literally the word is just a Paryayavachi for Sharanagati. Okay. But we say there are two paths. In surrender itself, there are two paths. One in which you claim responsibility for your actions. You say, I will perform bhakti. I will do this to you. I will show my bhakti in this way, that way. There are different types of bhakti yoga described in the scriptures. And there are different types of bhakti as well. 9 types of bhakti that you must be aware. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho. Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. That one. So, by performing one or more types of bhakti, and by performing a type of bhakti yoga as declared by the scripture. I will follow this. You please ensure that this path of mine is unhindered. In that way, if you surrender to Bhagavan, it will be bhakti yoga. But without any such condition, you ensure that this happens properly for me. I will do this, I will do that. Don't think that way. Think only about the aspect of surrender and surrender to Him. Don't think I will do this, I will do that. For doing that, I need Him to accept my surrender. Don't think in that way. Think in a different way. Don't even think much about yourself. Don't think that you are the doer. Focus everything on Him. Then you have a pure Sharanagati, Paripurna Sharanagati, where we are surrendering to Him, not because we want Him to help us to go unhindered in our path, but because we have faith that He will protect us and He will grant us moksha. Rakshishyati iti vishwasaha. That is the path of Paripurna Sharanagati, which we call as Prapatti. Is this clear? The path
Yes,
of
Swami.
Sharanagati is called as Prapatti Yoga. Sometimes we just call it as Prapatti. Bhakti Yoga, sometimes we just call it as Bhakti. But technically, Bhakti is not the same as Bhakti Yoga. Remember that. When it comes to usage, people might use these words interchangeably. But there is a Prapatti inside Bhakti Yoga as well. Right? You surrender to Him saying, please ensure that no problem comes while I do this. That is also a surrender. Surrender is of many types. When Pakistani soldiers surrendered to Indian soldiers, that was also a surrender. How to not associate with the body? Through what is called as sadhana saptakam. I don't remember whether we have covered sadhana saptakam in these classes. If we have not covered it, I will explain that in detail in our next class. There are 7 sadhanas that you should do to ensure that you have sustained bhakti, to ensure that you are able to feel the difference between yourself and the body. Of course, there is a knowledge component as well. Knowing that you are not the body is also important, which is what we discussed in today's lecture.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Ram Kumar Raman here. So, yeah,
Yes.
when we were discussing about that, thinking, and
Uh,
when I believe, am I audible?
you're audible, but I think your voice was getting cut in between.
Okay. Yeah, just is it better now?
Yes, it's better now.
Okay, thank you, thank you. See, when we were discussing about that, you were explaining about that logical thinking as well as surrendering, right? Sharanagati. So when we are surrendering ourselves to Swami with bhakti, okay, still we will have to think that if I do, then I'll be the achiever with the blessings of God as well as by having bhakti on God. So how can we understand this actually? So when people say, when a common man say, without knowing about this, maybe a layman or somehow I can say, when you do something, you will be achieving. If you only surrendering yourself to Swami, how arise, right? But this is not exactly my question. I was asked these kinds of questions when I used to go to the temples, and perform slokas and everything. So this has been a long time question rising in myself, and I'm lucky to be in this discussion panel. Could you please help me with this?
Sure.
Thank you.
I see. We discussed two paths based on the previous question. We will continue with that differentiation and answer your question from both the paths. Okay. A person who is doing Bhakti Yoga or a person who is following Prapatti Yoga. This is the differentiation. Now, a person who is involved in Bhakti Yoga, what is Bhakti Yoga? It has a karma component and a jnana component. If you want to do Bhakti Yoga, you should know who you are showing Bhakti to, how Bhakti should be shown. And all of that is also necessary. Without knowledge, Bhakti Yoga is not possible. With that knowledge, what are you going to do? Maybe I would just contemplate on Bhagavan. When I'm not contemplating on Bhagavan, just sitting and meditating, I might be doing some actions. Maybe I will go offer some flowers, I will do some kind of puja, something or the other. So there is a karma component as well. So Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga are both angas, that is parts of Bhakti Yoga. This is the teaching of Vishishtadvaita.
Which
So,
means they are complementing to each other, right?
yes. So,
Okay.
if I surrender, it does not mean that I have surrendered, I will do nothing. Surrendering implies that I will do what he wants me to do.
Wow. Very good.
I will do what he wants me to do, but I will not keep on thinking, I am doing, I am doing, I am doing. That doership is what we criticize. So we do not say don't do anything. We say don't claim ownership over everything. Because what happens if I start thinking I am doing this, I am doing that, it is called ahankara. I will eventually start feeling pride, ego, and all sorts of feelings. I am praying to Bhagavan. I have surrendered to Bhagavan. Why hasn't he given me moksha yet? If I start thinking that way, that is my fault only. If I have surrendered, I should be fine with when he is giving me moksha. That is the purest form of surrender. There are, under Prapatti Yoga itself, there are different types of prapannas. Some of them say, so the standard procedure, they say, Etad dehavasane. At the end of this life, grant me moksha. Some others, they might say, grant me moksha now itself. If they are that qualified, they will get. But what if they are not that qualified? How do I know that I am so qualified that I can ask for moksha the next instant from Bhagavan? If I know the concept, I would know that Bhagavan would give me moksha at the perfect instant. He will not delay one instant also. Therefore, have that complete faith in Bhagavan. He will grant moksha at the right time. He is the one who is making me move towards him. He will grant moksha. That feeling needs to come. This feeling does not imply that we will not do anything. We will do those things that he wants us to do. We will avoid those things that he does not want us to do. We have surrendered to him. That means we have him as the authority for everything. What he likes is what I like. What he does not like is what I do not like. That understanding should be there. So if I do everything that is opposite to what Bhagavan has said, Bhagavan says, Satyam Vada Dharmam Chara. So many things he says. You speak the truth, you follow Dharma. If I do the exact opposite of all of that, then I cannot claim that he is only pulling me towards him, because it is against his very character, against his definition, against his fundamental qualities. So the Brahma Sutras declare that Jivatma is Karta, Karta Shastrarthavatvat. Yet, we have to think that we are not the Kartas, we are not the doers. You surrender that to Bhagavan. So when Bhagavan says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Raja, Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. he does not imply that after surrendering, we should be idle. Once we surrender, he will take the guarantee of giving us moksha. But that does not mean that we should be idle. Idleness is associated with tamoguna. It is evil. It is a form of evil. Does this answer your question?
Exactly, Swami. Thank you very much. I think I'm really getting the good clarification. Thank you so much.
Was there any other question? Yes, there is another question. Every person is composed of three parts: Atma, Jivatma, and body. Is there any more classification? See, by body, I believe you are referring to the physical body. This physical body is one of the manifestations of Prakriti. By Atma, I believe you are referring to Paramatma. In the third one, you have mentioned as Jivatma. These three are called as the three tattvas. There is Ishvara, who is also called as Paramatma, Parabrahman, and by so many other names. Then there is Chit, which is Jivatma. It has sentience. And then there is Achit, Jada, non-sentient. The body is one kind, the physical body that we have is one kind of non-sentient entity. There is no more. Everything, be it in Leela Vibhuti or Nitya Vibhuti, wherever, whatever place you could ever listen or hear or see, everywhere, only these three will exist. You will not have a fourth, which is neither Paramatma nor Jivatma nor Prakriti. You will not see that. Whatever is described there as in Vaikuntha being aprakrita, that is still achit only. That is why I said physical body is a type of Prakriti. Prakriti is a type of achit. Achit means non-sentient. So the sentient beings called chit, the non-sentient called achit, and Bhagavan, who controls both of them, called Ishvara. Only these three are there.
Okay, Swamiji. Thank you for clarification.
How to not get influenced by gunas? I think this question is similar to the previous question, how to not associate with the body. Rajoguna and Tamoguna make you get bound to the body. You display these qualities associated with Rajoguna and Tamoguna due to feeling that you are the body. If you stop feeling that you are the body, you will not display these gunas. But these gunas already exist. They are already existing. Why? Because of my prarabdha karma. And they are already influencing me. How do I stop getting influenced by them? The first step is learning about them. The second step is going and learning the process that takes you away from them. What keeps you away from Rajoguna and Tamoguna? Sattva guna. So understand the characteristics of Sattva guna and try to inculcate that. Try to inculcate those practices that build Sattva guna more and more. Anything that builds Sattva guna will take you closer to moksha by definition.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Swamiji.
If there's no other question, I would like to end today's class. Once again, apologies for starting late and ending late. I'm supposed to have prior commitments at 7 p.m. But as it was started late, I had to continue. I hope you have not been delayed by my delay. So thank you so much for staying beyond the scheduled time and listening. Yes, Narayan.
No, you not say sorry for it. Sometimes it does happen.
Thank you so much for attending. I'm concluding the class here.
Okay, Swamiji.
Narayan.
Thank